This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Engine's not making any more horsepower. These things in the final practice the other day were in the high 160-mile-an-hour bracket. So, I mean, pretty good speed for a six-cylinder engine.
The rocket of Jason York is the leader. From the outside pole, Eric Wilson gained 4 spots that first lap. He's at 31st. 6-car lead draft, then a bit of a break back to Bagwell. And a group of 3, and then the rest of the pack.
And Mike, that's what the rest of the pack has got to worry about. Right now, we're looking at about 6 cars that have gotten lined up like you need to if you want to get away from the rest of them. And if they do so, hey, it's going to be ugly for the rest of these guys all day long. They've got to get lined up real quick so they can suck back up to that lead pack.
The number 3 Tornado, Danji Hannaford of Florence, South Carolina, comes to the pit lane after just 1 lap.
Hood's going up on that car also, Mike. It must have some sort of engine problem.
You mentioned this is a 60-lap race. A lot of these teams told me this morning they could run somewhere between 25 and 30 laps. A lot of them very marginal on making this race in one stop. But they really won't need to change tires, but they will need fuel. Ray, I believe you're with Ray.
Yes, I am, Larry. It's Ray Dunlap with Ray Propoda. And Ray, so much work goes into getting ready for this. What in the world's got you behind the wall before the green?
Hey, it looks like we've got a bad battery.
But isn't that something that would go on the checklist before the race, or did something happen to it?
It was checked, and the car started in the garage area, so it might have a bad cell, or who knows. We got gremlins all week. Just another step.
Unbelievable. So the race goes green, and the 0 car is still behind the wall.
Good news, though, for Danny Bagwell in 7th on back. That front pack got a little bit side-by-side racing as the lead changes hands. Scott Weaver up front in the 2 car, followed by the 52 of Wade Day. Hopgood, Godwin, Chapman, and York in the top half dozen.
I like that 5th and 6th place car, the Bandit and the Rocket. That just sounds like race cars.
One of Ipower's ideas, and Ipower is Buck Parker and Randy Claypool, who own this sanctioning body, is to appeal to younger fans. And so they've taken a page from the monster trucks and the drag racers. They've tried to adorn these cars with names and diminish reliance on the car numbers.
Mike, we're talking about the Patriot and the Bandit. Guy that right there running in 4th place, Jay Godley, is the rifleman. Believe it or not, he's a kid from Charlotte, North Carolina, being sponsored by Ward Burton and his Wildlife Federation deal. And it's really, you know, it's kind of unique. He's kind of hooked up with these guys. Probably the most unusual part of that whole team is the fact they've got veteran crew chief Richard Broom working for them. He's worked for Rick Hendrick for a long time, and he actually also built the engine in that car.
I think he was the crew chief for Ken Schrader, and he sat on 3 consecutive poles for the Daytona 500 back in the late 80s.
Things pretty dicey there in the 3rd pack. It's a 10-car breakaway, then 3, then this knot of cars racing from about 16th on back. The back of that pack, Eric Wilson, who's up to 23rd. Scott Weaver pulls them around Daytona International Speedway as they combine a complete lap 5. Scott Weaver, Wade Day, and Justin Hopgood, the Outlaw, at 3rd place. Godley, Chapman, and the number 6, Jason York, the Rocket. Steve Burns, that Rocket looks like they're having a little trouble getting the fuse lit.
Well, Mike, remember, he spent a time at the front of the pack, but these guys don't have much experience at all crashing on a big track like this. They mainly race on short tracks. His spotter has been doing a terrific job of telling him who's in front of him, who's behind him, and where he should ride. So the Reedsville Rocket is trying to stay connected to the front of this pack.
Well, Steve, of course, as we all know, spotters at any racetrack, but in particular Daytona, is so important. I mean, it's that extra set of eyes and feel for that driver. And, you know, you've got to have an experienced spotter up there no matter what your experience level is driving that race car.
That 10-car breakaway at the front has now split in half. 2 groups of 5 apiece because of the side-by-side racing at 5th place. of Eric Wilson continues his climb from 37th on the grid. He just came by in 14th position. Wilson is thirsty. Car carries number 4.
Yep. That's kind of a unique way they've got that kind of blended in because of his sponsor. The way it kind of works is think about thirsty for Old Milwaukee Light. That's pretty ingenious.
Yes, it is. Tied it right in with that sponsorship. You know, Jeff, you and I talked to Eric this morning. Of course, he was telling us about being disqualified, how he had that high and that low. But he finished 8th last year, but that was bittersweet because he definitely had the most dominant car.
Car and wall. 2 cars around.
Oh! A hard hit from the 29 of Tony Billings. And there is Billings' Revelator coming to rest. All torn up.
That was a hard hit. Caution, of course, is out.
And I'm not sure of the car that he hit. Look at Billings' car, won't even rest on 4 wheels. That's how heavily damaged it was in the front.
I'm going to say,
there
it looked
it
like
is.
that's the right front tire off the max speed car. It looks like it got stuck up underneath the Billings car as it came down off the racetrack.
Bill Clevenger took a hard hit first at the wall and then sliding back down the track from the 29 of Billings. Now, even though these cars are smaller, as you see the driver Billings moving around inside, than Nextel Cup or the Busch Series cars, the safety requirements are every bit as stringent.
Yes, they're required to wear head and neck restraints, onboard fire extinguishers. Some damage right there on the 23 car. That's Danny Keaton's car. Got the left front knocked in a little bit. Looks like he'll have to bring it down to pit road, but he should be able to make repairs and get back in this fray.
Yeah, that bullet is somewhat spent.
Kind of like a dud right now. Well, let's take a look, see what happened here. It's Eric Wilson right there. He's coming through. Woo. Just missed
it. And that, boy, that was a hard hit right there. But yeah, that was one of Eric Wilson's big fears, is starting back in the back.
Yes, it was.
There you see him sliding down the racetrack. The 29 car, he was all the way on the apron, but of course the other car, Clevenger's car, was just continuing to come down the banking.
And probably what happened there, Tony Billings is a rookie here, so whenever he saw the guys at the bottom, he just went with them, and there was no place to go.
It's important to note that when the caution comes out, racing ceases, just like in Nextel Cup. They do not race back to the flag.
But they do get the free pass. Of course, at this point in the race, we do not have no one that is a lap down.
Trouble with with the left front tire and then no air to put the tire back on.
And trouble on the beef car on pit road. That is Bobby Hill of Jefferson, Georgia, who got into a beef with another car, ran into the back of it there on pit road.
If you look right here on the left front fender, you can see, right front fender right here, collision was made whenever he come down pit road, and 2 guys trying to get in the same pit area. So
see Bobby Hill going into his pits, fading in, and the white car there just turns right in. And you know, this is where a lot of times, especially we talked about it earlier, how much help the spotters can.
Wally Leatherwood from Waynesville, North Carolina. Smokey's Garage here in Daytona, the best damn garage in town. That's what it says on the sign, and it is being sold. The land is being sold for development. February 14th, Valentine's Day, they're going to have a big final open house, and then Smokey's will close forever.
It's a shame because it's a part of history. I think that a lot of people owe a lot to Smokey Unick as far as their careers in this.
The Smokey car, and that is a tribute to Smokey Unick.
You know, on making it on one stop, these cautions kind of build in some cushion that they can make it on one stop for fuel.
Ray Paprota has solved his battery problems, and the Instigator joins the fray, following the footsteps of McConnellsburg's Tom Peck, who had a successful career in the Busch Series.
Now we've had something happen here because Ray Paprota, he just came out on the racetrack after this caution. He has all kinds of damage there. The Instigator on the back of his car
hasn't yet run a lap of green.
I don't know what happened, Larry, but it looks just like somebody has run through the back of that race car.
Lap 3, Scott Weaver in the orange number 2 makes a move under Jason York to take the early lead. Then a very scary moment here when Tony Billings runs right into the spinning car of Bill Clevenger. Both drivers were okay, but that accident in turn 2 involving Roy H. Weaver took place during this very same moment, brought out the red flag, bringing the race to a stop for nearly 2 hours. The race got back underway and was shortened by 20 laps from 60 to 40. Scott Weaver fell to 18th, which opened the door for pole sitter Danny Bagwell to take.
During the caution, an accident occurred in turn 2 at the opposite end of the speedway. That accident did involve a track safety worker, and it is that situation that has put us under this very lengthy red flag. So our coverage of this event will conclude here, and we invite you to tune in to Speed News later on this evening for further details and updates on the Ipower Dash Series 150.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.